Folks, welcome back. And oh man, what are you doing today, Tom? We're gonna, you know what? We're gonna keep on working on this tool chest that we're making. And today we're gonna start making the carcass where the drawers fit. And in the last video, and I'll leave the link down below so you can see how I built the drawers. But super simple drawers. If you're watching along, you'll say, hey, you put a finish on there. You know, I went old school. I went with shellac on everything, and then sanded it down a little bit. And so the faces actually have a little polyurethane on there. I didn't want the gloss finish that the shellac gives, so I went with some satin. You can see I've got some drawer pulls on there, and I've installed all the drawer slides, and I got a video of that too. But today, like I said, we're going to start making the verticals and the cabinet that'll actually, these drawers will go in. Got a piece of 3/4 inch cut already that's kind of a template, and I've got some 5/4 stock. You can see I've got my Kreg Jig all set up over here, and we're putting together a frame that's going to be on the bottom of that piece of 3/4 inch that I showed you, and we'll build up from there. Our wheels will actually attach to this, and they'll sit a little bit wider, so I think it'll give a little bit more stability. This thing is basically, for all practical purposes, is 24 by 24. It's going to be a little bit bigger than that, but not much. So I'll tell you what, let's get rolling here. All right, folks, putting the drawer slides out. I just made myself a little template here, some scrap wood, and I'm going 3 inches down. And you got to be really consistent. If you do it this way, make sure you're putting it on the same way every time. And then I've taken part of my my slide off, and the screw I'm using, I actually found these on Amazon. They're for it says it's for putting these in, and they're 1/2 inch, and they got a nice big head on them. And you know, what kind of person are you when it comes to putting your drawer slides? Are you the type that, hey man, this is going to be perfect, and you put it in that hole? Are you the type to say, they're going to go right to the left, so you put it in that hole? Or are you the type that thinks, you might have to go up and down a little bit? I want to be the type of person who thinks I'm going to have to go up and down a little bit on this. So we'll just put 3 screws in, make sure not to over tighten or strip them. Otherwise, you have to put them in one or the other. 2 holes. So that's that. We'll keep on going. All right, a close-up of the Kreg Jig here. We're just getting ready to drill this 3/4 inch. You can see we've got a side here. You set that to 3/4, and then you adjust this in and out so that, and use a piece of wood in there to 3/4 inch just to make sure it's snug. Then we take our drill bit and we set where this is, where it starts drilling the hole, not the pilot hole, to 3/4, and we adjust our collar, and our collar has a little set screw. See it right there? You adjust that, and then we'll start drilling. All right, folks, so there's the screw we're using. This is 5/4 stock, which means it's 1/8", and these are the Kreg screws that you use to put them in. And put a little glue on there, and then I've got a little clamp that you can get from Kreg, or I found this one from Wen, and it was about $5 cheaper than spending the money on the... And it just draws it together so nice and tight. Never heard of pocket holes before. Telling you what, this is definitely the way to go. One more to put in, we'll give you a look-see. All right, so there's that base all put together, super strong, folks. Don't need to use any clamps. You got glue and those screws in there. This ain't going nowhere. That's going to be super strong because I'm going to be building off of this. So let's get the back on there, that base, that 3/4 inch base on there, and then we'll be able to build up from there. All right, folks, so the bottom base is built screws, staples, glue, ain't going nowhere. I've got some 3/4 inch already cut, so 3/4 inch going on the back, 1/2 inch on the fronts, and we'll put that together. I'll probably use the Kreg Jig to put in some 3/4 inch into this 5/4 stock here. The 1/2 inch I probably won't. I'll just screw directly into the 3/4 inch. You can use a Kreg Jig for 1/2 inch material. It's just, in my opinion, not the best. It doesn't really grab as good. But we'll keep on moving here, give you a couple look-sees as we proceed. And we're not gonna go crazy with this because we're gonna be putting screws into the side. There's gonna be staples and glue. We just want to get something in to secure it into that 5/4 stock. So like I said, we'll probably put about 4 in there. All right, I got 2 sides coming together, folks. Glues and screws, that's what we're using here. And you can see we got the 3rd one. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking I'm just taking a little drill bit here, nice little Forstner, and I'm just breaking the skin of the plywood off, and they'll sink in the rest of the way. If you're wondering what I'm using for screws, there you go, 2.5 inch spacks. These things will hold very nicely in plywood, folks. So we'll get to putting it together. All right, folks, glues and screws. We're just making everything nice and tight there. Remember, this thing is gonna be rolling around, so it's not like a kitchen cabinet, and I want it to last for years and years and years. In fact, this would be really cool if this would end up with one of my sons and maybe one of my grandsons eventually. So we've got the carcass kind of built. We're gonna start putting the drawers in and get those right, and then we're gonna trim it out. And it's, so far everything's coming together really, really nicely. Lots of glue and lots of screws, and ain't going nowhere. All right, folks, putting the drawer slides in, it's easier to do them with the whole thing laying on its side. That's what I got right here. And then I'm just using a plywood spacer here that I ciphered out, and that'll go like that, and that'll go flush. And then we've got some of these 1/2 inch screws. These are actually made for just this purpose. I found them on Amazon. Imagine that. And they're just 1/2 inch, so they work real nice. Coarse threads on them. I put 4 screws in each one, and then I'll tell you what, we'll put the first drawers in, and keep your fingers crossed, folks. Hopefully this works. Well, what do you think of that? Got the first 2 in, nice. I like the gap down there. They full pull out just like that. I mean, get much nicer than that. Oh, we'll keep on going. I hope I got everything ciphered out right to get to the top. Math is not my strong point, folks, but I tell you what, if you keep taking your time, you can do it. Remember, all this, if I can do it, so can you. Well, folks, drawers are all installed, so this was, I'm not good at putting drawers in, let's face it, this was a challenge. And I showed you some of the tricks that I used. You're looking at the gaps, and some of them may be off by 1/8 of an inch, but you know what, I'm gonna live with it, because this isn't going to anybody but me, and hopefully pass down to my kids, and maybe to even my grandkids, who knows. But this will be the end of this video. There'll be one more when I put the top on and do some trim and install the wheels and do the finish. That'll be the fun one, because then it'll really come together. But this one, you know, drawers pull all the way out. I got the slides to work pretty decently. Made some mistakes along the way, but you know what? You learn as you go. Oh, got Jewel in there. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Tom Horseman at YouTube. Thanks for playing along, folks. Thumbs up, leave a comment, and as always, I appreciate you watching. Thank you.